Suddenly I'm into country music. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Said by Ty. I'm Ty and I hope you are ready for some Ty time because we about to get into some things, yes indeed. And today we are getting into this. Yes, today is going to be a review of the Red, White, and Royal book. However, it's also going to be a review of the movie because I'm going to be comparing them. Now, if you're somebody who is easily offended by difference of opinion, go. Just save yourself the stress. Girl, go rest. Take your mind off of the internet. Touch some grass. Do something that'll stimulate your well-being. Okay, because this is not going to be the video for you. Because while I do have criticisms of the movie, I also have criticisms of the book. Mind you, nothing that I'm going to say today takes away the enjoyment that I experienced from both the book and the movie. There are just things in both of these pieces of media that just didn't land for me, and that's okay. It's okay. But yeah, guys, this is the first book review I've got on my channel. I've been wanting to do book reviews for quite a long time now. I have an assortment back there just so I can have something going on in the background because it's literally just plain as hell in my apartment and I just needed to have something going on to fill the space a little bit. So I don't know, it looks kind of tacky, look a little bit ghetto, but it is what it is. There are other books that I do plan to do reviews on in the future, so stick around if you like that type of content. I'm here for the book reviews too. I'm slowly growing my channel. I'm expanding. It feels good. Good. So anyway, y'all don't want to hear me blab on and on and on. Y'all want to hear my thoughts on Red, White, and Royal Blue. All right, so I don't have a script prepared for this. I just have the notes app full of things that I thought of when I was reading and when I was comparing to the movie. I did a reaction to the movie on my page, and if you watch the reaction, you would know that I said I was only about almost halfway done. I didn't even reach the halfway mark. I didn't even reach the halfway mark in the book before I watched the movie. So my perception of this whole thing, I feel like, is a little skewered. Like, I started reading the book, then I watched the movie, then I finished the book. It's weird. But nonetheless, there are things that stick out to me, so I'm going to go over them. I want to start with some positives for the movie, actually. So one of the positives for the movie was I thought it was casted pretty well. Like, the cast was great. Everybody had on-screen chemistry. Alex and Henry, I felt, were played by the perfect actors for the role. For the most part, no one's acting put me off. There were some moments I feel like where I was like, eh. But I think it had more to do with some of the scripting because there was some cringiness in the movie. But that's to be expected with a romantic comedy, Another positive for the movie, I have to say, is they cut down a lot of the sex scenes that were in the book. And here's my thing with sex scenes. Okay, I don't know. I feel like I'm weird because I don't mind sex scenes in the book. First of all, I didn't even know the book had sex scenes when I picked it up. I knew nothing about this book when I bought it. I read the blurb and I just said, okay, the movie's coming out, so I want to read this book before it comes out. Obviously, it didn't end up happening. I wasn't even halfway done. But I wasn't expecting sex scenes, and there were quite a few of them. Literally, after Alex and Henry realized they liked each other, they were just going at it. It was giving real, I'm out of town, lugging with my rounds, my uni pink, my uni round, just left bound town. Which again, within a book, I don't mind, but when it's transferred to the big screen, I don't know. I feel like in a book, you have more freedom to get away with stuff like that. But if I'm watching a movie, I don't want to watch a movie that's just full of sex scenes, unless that's the purpose of the movie. Yeah, I think the movie did really good to cut out all of those sex scenes. And I think the sex scenes that they did keep in were really impactful, I would say. I think they did what they needed to do. And I think that the actors' chemistry really amplified those scenes. So yeah, I think the movie actually did a really good job with toning down the amount of sex, and with the sex that they had included, I think it impacted the story pretty well. But I gotta get into some of the criticism too. So in the reaction, I actually mentioned the pacing. The pacing in the movie in the beginning and a little bit at the end too was a little bit off. I feel like there wasn't enough build up for the relationship between Alex and Henry in the movie. I mean, it was like just enough, but I would have liked to see more build up in terms of their relationship developing. But the funny thing is, where I feel like the movie lacks with its too quick of pacing, I feel like the book, low-key, the pacing was a little too slow at certain points. For the most part, it was fine. And I'm gonna get to the book's pacing towards the end, because that's where I mostly had the discrepancy within the book. It was towards the end. That's where the pacing got me a little bit, because I was like, y'all here. But yeah, the movie's pacing was just a little bit too quick. More so towards the beginning. And a commenter brought it to my attention that it was because they had cut out June. And essentially when Alex wasn't, around Henry, we had scenes with June and Nora and the White House trio and everything. And I was like, yeah, which brings me to my next discrepancy. I don't like that they cut June out of the narrative. I feel like they could have kept June. They kept Nora, which is fine. But if they really had to pick between having June in the movie or Nora in the movie, I would have rather had kept June in there, just because I think the sibling dynamic was something that could have really been explored on a really deep level, just in terms of these two young people navigating politics with a president mom and foreign affairs and everything. And then they could have included June's storyline of her wanting to pursue different things, and I feel like that would have really worked. I mean, I genuinely think they could have kept all three of the White House trio. They just had a certain dynamic that really resonated in the book. And ultimately, I do feel like Nora's inclusion in the movie anyway felt kind of inconsequential. I mean, I know that the directors or whoever said that they wanted the movie's focus to mainly be on Henry and Alex, and that's fine. But when you're coming in from a reader's perspective, you read the book, you love the book. Even if I was only halfway done with the book, barely, I still had that little bit of expectation, like, damn, like I felt that loss a little bit. I mentioned here in my notes that Beatrice's role in the movie also felt a little bit inconsequential. They cut out her story. And let me just say this. I'm not mad that they made cuts. Like, when you're adapting a book into a movie, especially a book that's this long, there's stuff you have to cut. Like, this book is almost 400 pages in my copy. It's like 390 something. So yeah, you're not gonna be able to get everything in it. I just feel like there was a way that they could have gotten away with including a lot more, and it's brought me to a particular conclusion that I'm going to get into later on. But I have come to a conclusion that I felt like if this movie went that route, it would have been paid off a lot better. But we'll get there. But yeah, just speaking more on the White House trio and the friendship dynamics in the book, a big part of Alex's arc, well, maybe not a big part, but a part of it was him getting a group of friends. I just felt like that piece was missing in the movie because they wanted to focus on Alex and Henry, which again, that's fine. But again, as a reader, you come in with a certain hope or expectation and it's not there, and it's just slightly disappointing. But doesn't mean I don't understand why things get cut. Now I want to talk about Miguel because I understand the point of his character, and I do prefer it to what happened in the books, i.e. Richards being the one to leak the relationship between Alex and Henry. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit after this, but I feel like with Miguel, we didn't spend enough time with him. Like, I feel like he should have definitely been in a few more scenes, or at least the scenes that he was in be longer. We see this guy in like 4 scenes and they're like 2 minutes each, but he's essentially the thing. He is the big catalyst for what happens in the movie. So it's like, we should have spent more time with him. Am I alone in thinking that? I feel like he should have had a little bit more of a role, because when it was implied that he was the one who did the leak, it was like, okay, that was expected, but it was also like, I'm not necessarily feeling anything with this. I don't feel a sense of betrayal because Alex already didn't like him, and I don't even necessarily hate Miguel because it's like, we didn't spend enough time with him. Like, he just kind of seems like a little bit of a loser. And okay, like, I don't know, I feel like the movie could have did a better job at characterizing him, and if they hadn't made Miguel more of a companion to Alex in the first place, then we as the audience would have really felt like, damn, Miguel, you're a piece of shit. That's just how I feel. Let me know what you guys thought about that particular aspect of the film. I thought that could have been handled a little bit better. But the reason that I ultimately prefer Miguel being the leaker as opposed to Richards in the story is because Richards being the one to leak it in the story was just like, okay, like I get it, he's the opponent to Alex's mom, but we don't even get a scene with him in the book. Like, he's just a presence that I can't even say looms because he's not really that much of a threatening force in the book to me. Am I alone in that? It was just thrown in at the end like, oh yeah, it was Richards, and we didn't get a line of dialogue with this man. I mean, I think we were presented with some sort of speech he did in the book, but that's about it. We didn't see him in the same rooms as our characters. We didn't see him communicate with our characters. So it just felt like our big bad was just some dude we never met. And then the author takes the extra step to paint him as a predator once the Raphael Luna reveal happens. And it was just like, okay, like, I don't have anything against that, but if we were gonna make him just this evil dude, I would have liked to see more of him in the story. Do you guys see a pattern with me? Like, if you're gonna have these characters, I want to see more of them, so when they do the bad things, I can really feel the weight of it. And with Richards in the story, I didn't necessarily feel the weight of it because they're telling me like Luna used to invite young men and women to his hotel rooms and try to, you know, take advantage of them, which is horrible. And I don't necessarily need to be shown that, but I do need to be shown instances throughout the book of him being just a piece of trash. Like, I don't know. Maybe, am I weird? I feel like I'm a little weird. I don't know. I feel like y'all are just like,
what the hell are you talking about? You sound stupid.
But it's just, this is how I connect to stories. Like, I need my characters, especially if you're gonna be the antagonist or the villain, I need you to be semi-significant. And I didn't get that vibe from either Miguel or Richards. As I said, I still prefer what happened with Miguel in the movie, just because I didn't need the Richards as a predator narrative. I really just didn't. But I do understand for the context of the novel why that would be a plot point, considering Raphael Luna's story and where he came from, and him needing to infiltrate the camp to get certain information and leak it to Nora, etc., etc. So it's not like I don't understand why it was there. I just feel like if it's gonna be there, I need more of a reason for it to be there. Like, I need more. I just need more. That's the conclusion. I need more. I also have a little stupid side note in here about how my brain kept auto-correcting Henry to Harry while I was reading the book in the beginning, because I don't know what it was. I like literally every time I saw Henry's name, my brain just auto-corrected it to Harry. And I honestly think that between Harry Potter, Harry Styles, and Harry from Heartstopper, I'm just associating H names with Britain. So whenever I saw H at the beginning of Henry's name, my brain just went Harry. That's just some little stupid anecdote. I don't know. Okay, so now we're gonna get into endings pacing. I do feel like the ending to the movie should have been a little bit more faithful to the ending of the book, because when I was reading it, I really felt the weight of what was going on. Henry going off on Philip, confronting the queen, the deliberation of how the situation was going to be handled. Like, I really felt like this is serious. But I feel like as I was watching the movie, I didn't necessarily feel the entire weight of the exposure. I don't know if that makes sense. They got exposed, and then very soon after that, Alex was giving his speech. And I guess that's another pacing issue, because they didn't necessarily have enough time to let the situation marinate. But we're talking about a movie, right? They only have a certain amount of time. And I heard they originally had like 3 hours worth of content and they had to cut it down to 2. So there was a lot of things that they did have that they ultimately had to get rid of, which is why, again, I've come to a certain conclusion that I'm gonna fill you guys in on. Just wait a little bit more, just be a little bit more patient. But the last thing that I really want to talk about with this is the ending of the book too. Like I said, I had pacing issues with both the book and the movie. The movie felt like it was moving a little too quick. The book felt like it was moving a little bit too slow, and towards the end of the book is when I really started to feel that. Once the big events happened, i.e. the exposure, finding out it was Richards, having Raphael leak information to Nora and Nora deciphering it, etc., etc. Once all that was over, it kind of felt like, okay, now we need to go into the end game, but we were still following the characters. Like, we were present during Alex and Henry's photo shoot, and we were present to learn about the foundation that Henry's doing and the fun that B is doing. And, you know, I feel like those things could have been summarized in like 2 or 3 paragraphs within the final moments of the book. Like, I didn't need to be with the characters. And this is why there always needs to be a balance of showing and telling, because there are certain moments where you need to show things and there are certain moments where you need to tell things. Towards the end, I felt like I didn't need to be shown the conversations they were having regarding the foundations and the funds and what everyone's been up to and stuff like that. It's like I said, it could have been summarized in 2 or 3 paragraphs leading up to the ultimate moment, which was the electoral results. After everything was exposed and resolved, we should have immediately been heading into the election results. For me personally, the book just started to drag at that point, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to be done. And I'm not saying that as in it was just a slog. It was just like, damn, I'm still reading. There's still more. Like, what else? So yeah, there was definitely some fillery type things in the book that could have also been cut. So all of this has led to the ultimate revelation for me, right? Like, buckle in. I think that Red, White, and Royal Blue should have been made into a series. I think it should have been a series, and I think that with it being series, we would have had a lot more room to do a lot more things, and we didn't necessarily have to cut a lot of characters. I mean, really, we just didn't have to cut June, because there are characters we definitely didn't need. Like, we didn't need Leo in the story. We didn't need Cash in the story. We didn't need Liam and his boyfriend that shows up at the end in the story. Like, certain cuts, I understand, but I'm just sour about June. So if the movie was actually a series, they could have kept June in it, and I would have loved that. And it being a show would have allowed for a lot more room to explore different avenues and storylines, like B's drug habit or Henry's mom, like the things that she was dealing with and her feeling the weight from her mother and the crown. Like, those types of things we could have really delved into if the movie was actually a show. But we have the movie, and like I said, I love the movie, I love the book. None of these things that I've said take away from that. It is what it is. But that's about all I have to say about Red, White, and Royal Blue. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think a lot of what I said was that bad. You guys let me know what you think down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can be notified whenever I post. And I will see you guys in the next video. And always remember, this is said by Ty. And I said what I said. Bye.